Hi guys, hope you are doing well. Today Schoology wasn't working well. There was some issue with it, so I decided to do a video lecture instead. Hope you'll find this useful. Today, what I want to talk about is emotional intelligence, and then I want to talk about different theories of motivation very quickly because I want to keep this video short. Emotional intelligence is a set of abilities to perceive and express emotion, assimilate emotion in thought, understand reason with emotion, and regulate emotion in oneself and others. What does it mean? So, we did a couple of videos, and I gave you an assignment as well and a discussion that you commented on. So, you have an idea of what emotion is, but just briefly, emotional intelligence is about regulating, recognizing, and regulating your own emotions and that of others. So, most of your emotions, from my own observation and personal experience, and from the what I've read on the subject, it comes from two states of minds, right? So, there is a state of mind of peace and a state of mind where there is fear, and all the emotions, whether it is when you talk about fear, all the emotions such as anger and frustration and and envy, all those come from that state of mind, or can result in that state of mind. Joy, happiness, contentment, satisfaction come from a state of mind of peace or result in that state of mind for a person. It is very important to be emotionally intelligent, especially in the kind of work environment that we work in right now, because there is a lot of communication, there is a lot of interpersonal um, relationships, there is a lot of politics. Unless you are able to recognize what people are thinking, what predict their behavior in a reasonable way, and be able to help them overcome some of their own emotions, such as sadness or depression and anxiety, then you won't be an effective employee, co-worker, team player, leader, especially, right? So that is why there is a lot of emphasis that organizations these days put on emotional intelligence. When I was starting my career in the military, we had a mandated um, reading. It was a book by Daniel Goleman on emotional intelligence, and that helped me personally quite a bit because I was able to recognize why the way I'm feeling a certain way, whether it was anger or frustration um, or disappointment and sadness and all those different emotions that young people go through. And after reading the about emotional intelligence and how to use some of the tips and techniques and tools to be able to manage your own emotions and how to recognize those emotions in others, was very helpful, right? It was one of the key skills right now in the organizations today. And if you go on the PowerPoint slide, the final session, there are four basic dimensions of emotional intelligence that they talk about, right? There is self and then the social. So, self is you, and social is how you're interacting with others or others. And then there are two parts, recognition and regulation. So, there is self recognition and self regulation, there is social recognition and social regulation. So, self recognition is being self aware, being aware of your own emotional emotions, having a self accurate self assessment and self confidence. Self regulation is managing your emotions, regulating your emotions, having self control. So, in an organizational context, for example, if you're angry at someone and if you yell at them, if you punch them while at work, it could get you into trouble. It could get you into trouble. You could be fired. Disciplinary action could be taken against you. But anger is good because it means that you are frustrated, you don't like something. But the key is how you express it, how you express your frustration and are able to communicate and articulate it in an appropriate way. in organizations, that means that collaborating with others, understanding what others' point of view is, and then articulating your point of view in a way that is respectful, that clearly states what you want and what you think, what your perception of a certain strategy is, of a certain product is, or whatever it could be. And that would get you to your goal, to achieving your goal, much better, more effectively and more efficiently than if you are unable to express your emotions in the right way. Then there is social awareness. When we talk about social awareness or social recognition, that is having empathy, being able to put yourself in another person's shoe. What that means is recognize that how the other person might be feeling. So if I am an instructor in the class and I don't have the ability to recognize what you might be going through, and from your facial expressions, from your body language, if I can't understand whether you are sad or if you're joyous or happy, I won't be able to manage the class. I won't be able to help you through this learning process effectively and efficiently. That is what happens in organizations as well. So take example of a leader, for example. If they're unable to recognize and regulate the emotions their team members have, then they won't be very effective as leaders. And then there is social regulation that you'd find on this model. Things like relationship management, inspirational leadership, inspiring other people, developing other people's, helping other people, go through hardships, managing change, because people are resistant to change. But if you are able to help them through that change, that is great, right? So this is what basically emotional intelligence is, and recognizing yourself and others and some of the emotions that we share is what it talks about. Okay, so that is one part. We talked about emotional intelligence a little bit. In the next video, I am going to talk about Maslow's needs hierarchy theory and some of the other theories out there. We're going to talk about them, and that is going to be our last topic. All right.